don't really know who wrote the Gospels. The names were assigned later probably by Eusebius, who stated that it was admissible and permissible to lie to further the kingdom of God. We don't even know who wrote those Gospels. And we don't know if they were eyewitnesses.
Okay? Then it sounds to me like you're an honest intellectual who is searching for truth. You don't want to be deceived. So I'm sure that you have put together some tests that you use to determine whether any document is historically reliable or not. Could you please give me those tests?
Well, I think so. Or maybe a few. Without having time to collect my thoughts, I would say, first of all the claims made in the texts would have to be verified as being made at the time they claim to make them. We need to know who wrote them. We need to know if they are objective. We need to have outside evidence to support the claims made there and that the events described in the text actually occurred.
Okay, how do you do that with Herodotus, Suetonius, the Roman historians, the Greek historians? Help me understand. How do you do that with their writings?
Well, I don't necessarily have to believe all the claims made therein.
Okay, how do you do that with the history of the Middle Ages?
Well, I guess you would say that you could analyze whatever text you're referring to and see, number one, if there are outrageous claims made in the text, and two, if outside historical evidence that can be deemed objective confirms the statements made in those texts.
Well, I think you've just wiped out the majority of history, right?
Oh, I don't think so. I guess you'd have to, whatever you examine would have to be weighed on an independent basis.
Well, how are you going to get an account of the Battle of Waterloo?
Well, the Battle of Waterloo isn't a big claim. Battles happen every day. People die. They have political disputes, and people go to war. That's not an outrageous claim. Claiming that someone rose from the dead and is the supreme ruler of the universe is a big claim. See, that is a claim that has to be justified.
How do you justify that?
Well, I'm asking you that. Burden of proof, again, is on you. You're making the big claim.
Yeah, but you see, the reason I can't answer you is because you're so squeamish on acceptable tests. So I know that however I answer you, you're going to say that's not enough. That's why I asked you first to give me the reliable criteria that you want met, and then I'm going to see if I can meet that criteria. First of all, I'm going to figure out, is that an honest criteria, and then I'll try and meet it to the best of my ability.
So you're saying you can't prove there's a God?
I could never prove there's a God.
You can't prove it, right?
Sir, I cannot prove to you, not only can I not prove to you that there's a God, I can't prove to you that my eyesight perceives reality.
Right.
Not only that, I can't prove to you that I'm not a bad dream you're having right now.
That's true.
So stop playing the game of, hey man, you got to prove this stuff to me before I can believe it. Because you guys don't have proof to back up anything you guys believe. So don't demand that I prove it, okay? Instead, let's be more honest and let's say, there's got to be evidence. Okay? No, it's not semantics. No, it is not. It's a question of being honest. It's flat out honesty. I can prove nothing, but I'm going to gather evidence. And based on evidence, I'm going to make commitments. And the evidence is UT is going to grant you a diploma. And the evidence is that your eyesight does perceive reality. That's why you trust your eyesight. And for good reason, because there's evidence. All right, now my point is, there is evidence that the Gospels are historically reliable. I'm very grateful that we don't have one Gospel. We've got Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. Now, they're not carbon copies. They obviously have different perspectives. In fact, those perspectives are so different that some people say they are contradictions, but if you read them carefully, you'll realize they're not contradictions. They're different perspectives.
When you say read them carefully, what do you mean?
What I mean is, one Gospel records 2 angels in an empty tomb. Another Gospel says there was an angel at the empty tomb. It is possible for some of us to say that's a contradiction, until we start to think more carefully, realizing those are 2 different perspectives. If one Gospel writer had said there was only one angel at the empty tomb, and the other gospel writer would have said there were two angels, then you would have a contradiction.